All right, so welcome again, everyone. Happy to have you all here. I know over at RoboNation, we are all very excited for RoboBoat coming up, but also with it being in February, it feels really, really soon. So we're kind of in that crunch time as we're just about 3 weeks away from the event. So we're excited to see you all and to be able to have another RoboBoat, but we're all just kind of trying to run the race to the finish line while we get there. So once again, thank you all for joining today. We appreciate it. We hope that we can answer any last questions that you may have. As we go through today's session, you are welcome to add any questions you have to the chat, and we'll kind of go through them as they come up. And we are recording this session so that you can access it later and share it with your teams and hopefully use it as a helpful resource. All right, so today we have a couple different things that we're going to be going over, but primarily it's going to be all the reminders and information that you need to prepare for the event coming up next month. We'll also go through some details, particularly around the Autonomy Challenge, so that we can be better prepared for the course as well. So before we get into anything, just kind of wanted to introduce our organizers. You'll be able to recognize some of these organizations on site at the event. We're excited to have some representatives there. So we are thankful to partner with the Office of Naval Research to bring you RoboBoat every year. And so we have lots of representatives, particularly in our judge group that will be representing ONR. And then we also have two premier sponsors that have been longtime RoboNation sponsors with MathWorks and Blue Robotics, who both will also be there on site at the competition, exhibiting as well as participating as judges. So keep an eye out for them. And as a reminder, particularly MathWorks has some perks for you. They have some free licenses. I know it's the start of a new year, so if you haven't renewed for the new year, make sure that you go and do that. You can scan that QR code and access MathWorks licenses as well as other sponsors that have given us special deals. All right, and to go ahead and get us started today, I'm going to pass it over to Sherry to go through all of the logistics and preparation reminders for the event.
Hi, everybody. My name's Sherry Koch. I'm the Senior Events Manager for RoboNation, also known as RoboMom. So if you need anything, I'm so sorry. Stop that. If you need anything on site, I'm your go-to person. Juliana also is available to you to help, but and then you will also meet my assistant, Jadita. So we're excited that you guys are coming. We've got a great venue for you. This is actually a rowing venue if you haven't been. It's got some great water. In Florida, there's tons of water, and this is a wonderful venue. What you're looking at is the layout. You can look at the legend yourself. We've got a great big team village tent where everyone will have a 10-foot by 10-foot space with 2 tables and 7 chairs and electricity and an internet Wi-Fi. So that's what we give you. It's all outlined in your team handbook. If you have questions, you will have a team operations tent on the beach where you will be able to set up your computer. There is electricity there to plug in your computers, and it'll be right in front of the courses where you will be operating. Some things to know about the venue. It's very close to the hotel, and but it does open at 6 a.m. and close at 6 p.m. Essentially sun up to sun down, and so you'll need to be putting that into your plans as you work during the day. So parking is great big item number 7. So parking is very close. There is a building, which was number 1 on that. It's a 2-story building. You can see it behind me in my background. If you want to look, that's where you'll be doing your presentations. And that's when where our judges will be operating as well. So sorry about that, Julian. All right, next. Here's my contact information. Each one of you will be given a badge, a name badge, and Juliana and I have provided you with our phone number so that if you need help at any time, you can call us, text us, or you can reach us through Discord. So next. All right. Shipping. I'm always the shipping harper. I'm harping on you guys. If you have not made your arrangements for shipping or how you're going to get your vehicle to the competition, you need to be doing that now. You can ship your equipment to the hotel, but there are some guidelines, and please be aware that if your boat arrives before February 1st, the hotel may turn it away and say, we're not going to take it, or they may take it, and then you will show up to check in, and there will be a fee that you'll have to pay, a storage fee. So I know that when using FedEx or UPS, sometimes it's very difficult to estimate. I don't think the hotel's going to be really hard and fast, but we do need to respect the dates that they have given us. So we've given you several days ahead of your arrival to get your boats shipped so that there is some, but just please try to make sure that your boat doesn't arrive before February 1st. You must pick up your shipments by February 5th. The hotel has not made arrangements for any storage past February 5th. And then you can ship your boat back out after the competition, but you must ship it. You must be on site at the hotel when your shipper is picking up. So I tell this to every year because it's a nightmare. If you think that it can't happen, it can, where the wrong shipping company picked up the wrong box. And we had one year where two teams were using FedEx, and one FedEx guy came and picked up the wrong box, and a different FedEx guy came and picked up the other box. And on the other ends, the teams received the other team's machine, and it was on those teams to then pay for additional shipping to get their boxes to the right schools. So please make sure that you're also working on your outbound shipping. We don't want to be mean. We know that after the end of the competition, if you guys are in Florida, you want to enjoy the things that are in Florida, the beach, Disney, Universal Studios, any of those great fun things. We want you to be able to enjoy those, but we can't be responsible for your boxes. And so if you look at the shipping guidelines, and Julian, I think we have put that on the resource page for you. There are some shipping outlets where you can actually drop your box off, so you're not waiting around all day for the FedEx truck to come and pick it up, or the UPS shipper to come and pick it up. You can also use freight companies. They're a little bit more reliable when they are telling you, they'll call you and say, hey, we'll be there in 30 minutes. So just some things. If you have any questions or need help with your shipping, you're always welcome to reach out to me via email or by phone. In the shipping guidelines document, we've provided you with a shipping label. Please use that so that you can, your shipment doesn't get mishandled by the hotel. That's always a big thing. It's not a huge hotel, but I just want to make sure that you have it. The biggest thing is make sure you put a POC name and phone number so that if there's any questions from your shipper side or from the hotel side, they can reach you and ask you about your box. There is a outbound shipping label in the guidelines. I didn't put that in this PowerPoint because you guys can look it up on the resources page. And just the last reminder, if you have not started shipping, get busy, especially if you are shipping batteries. If you need any help or guidance on how to bring your boat on the airplane, please just contact me and I'll be happy to walk through that with you. So, all right. All right, our schedule at a glance. The first day of competition is Monday. It's not really the competition, it's team orientation. You need to be at team check-in. We'll have the mandatory team orientation after check-in, and then you guys will be given some time to unpack and get your team area set up for the next day. We start competition bright and early on Tuesday, and we go through Sunday. Presentations and vehicle assessments are on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and you will be given your schedule at what day and what time you'll be doing your presentations and your vehicle assessment. And then we move into qualifying on Saturday. And then we have finals start on Saturday afternoon and move into Sunday. And then we have our awards on Sunday evening right there at Nathan Benderson Park. So just one more reminder that the park itself doesn't open until 6 a.m. and it closes at 6 p.m. when it gets dark. And so just make sure that you are planning your time. If you do come on site Monday morning, we will kick you out of Team Village. You won't be able to set up anything. You're welcome to come. It's a public park. We're not going to kick you out of the park. If you want to look around, you can walk around. But we don't want you to come and interfere with our guys who are setting up and in Team Village or on the competition courses. But you're welcome to come and walk around. Just please don't interfere with staff who are trying to get ready for you and be prepared for when you are actually have events scheduled. So that was a question in the chat. Any questions? Other questions? All right. Let's see. Oh, let's see. We did have a day one. Okay. Team check-in, 1 o'clock. Team orientation, 1:30. 2:30 to 5. That's a good amount of time that you guys can be setting up and getting ready for the next day. There will be a mandatory team meeting and one representative must be present. That's every team meeting. Every evening there's a team meeting and you must have one person available at that meeting. So present at that meeting. So Bill, do you want to say anything about mandatory team meeting?
Yeah, we'll have a mandatory team meeting that day, and then every day, at least in the evenings, potentially in the mornings as well. We'll sort of make the call on site and let you guys know.
Okay. All right. Overnight pool testing. The amenity bay has a very nice pool, much larger than our Hyatt pool that we've had in the past. You will be allowed to test from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. We'll go over this at team orientation. Just know that this is a time for testing your machine. It's not a time for swimming or, enjoying the pool time. This is a quiet hours time because there are hotel guests sleeping and we just need to be respectful when we're on the pool deck. We also are in Florida, and one of the things that Florida has a lot of is thunderstorms and lightning. And so there is not a lifeguard present at the pool. So you are kind of on your own for determining or watching the weather and making sure that you are operating safely. So, we'll go over some of the rules during orientation, but just know that we have this for you. If you are not staying at the amenity bay, you can come over and use the hotel. You can use the pool between these hours. You just need to let me know that that's what you're going to do so I can make sure that hotel security is aware. So, but we do have this for you so that we do make it 10 p.m. so that our hotel guests are not on site, and then we close it off at 2 a.m. because we do want at least some of the team to get some sleep. We've had teams that didn't sleep all week and didn't go well for them. So make sure you get some sleep. Am I doing this one, you guys?
I can do it if you'd like. The way you will move your boat around the venue, and the way you will launch your boat in the water is with a trailer, and you need to provide this trailer, a trailer or cart. We can call it a cart. These carts must be manually propelled on site, no motors on the cart itself. It must have a solid handle since you will be pushing and pulling from the handle. It cannot be rope or chain. It must be 36 inches or narrower and have 6-inch or more diameter rubberized wheels. It must be able to travel on concrete, dirt, and grass because that's what you'll face on site. And it must be weighted down to sink in the water. Because again, the way you'll launch your boat is to literally push this cart into the water while your boat is on it. The cart sinks, your boat will float, hopefully. It's kind of one of the design requirements. And that is how your boat comes off the cart and how the boat will come on the cart. If you've not seen this before or not been at RoboBoat, I highly advise you look at hardware stores like Lowe's and Home Depot. They will be a Lowe's or Home Depot nearby Sarasota, and they sell a cart that fits all those specifications. In fact, I believe 2 of those pictures you're looking at right now is the cart you can get from Lowe's or Home Depot. So if this is something you are don't want to ship, which I don't blame you for, just consider it an expense that when you get on site, you'll have to go and pick up one of these carts and probably do a little bit of work on it to make it so it holds your boat. Any questions on the requirement to have this cart?
I'd just like to add that I would avoid using metal wheels or smaller wheels because when we say that the carts may have to travel on concrete, dirt, and grass surfaces, what we really probably should say is sand. And metal wheels or small wheels will sink in sand and you will get bogged down and stuck. You know, bigger wheels, inflatable wheels always work best, so. I can do this one. Okay, be prepared. Everyone thinks, hey, cool, we're coming to sunny Florida and it's going to be sunny and warm. And it actually very well may be. However, in February, Florida is not always sunny and warm. So make sure that you bring some layers, bring a jacket, be prepared for February to be cold. Right now, the average temperature is normally a low of 55 to a high of 75 degrees Fahrenheit. But in Florida at this point, at this time of the year, it can be as low as freezing. So you do have to be careful and just be prepared. Wear shoes with sturdy soles and avoid sunburn. Even though it's cold, you will still be able to get sunburned. So bring sunscreen, bring a hat, bring a long sleeve shirt, which you should bring anyway in case it's cold. And make sure you bring your own water bottles. We will provide a water station with ice. And then just a reminder that the Team Village will close. So we will kick you out of Team Village and then you can be on site at the park until 6 p.m. But then even park security will start kicking everybody out at 6 o'clock. So
I'll add that while it may be cold and windy, you can still get sunburned. So don't correlate how you feel as being cold as I don't need to put on sunscreen, because that is not the case. You could be shivering and still be sunburned.
yep.
Can attest to that, especially even on cloudy days. Don't be deceived by that. The sun
Yes.
still and works through the clouds. All right, so I wanted to just give you all some insight as you prep for your presentations and assessments. So like Sherry had mentioned earlier, these presentations and assessments, you'll receive a scheduled time slot across the 3 days, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. So your presentation, you'll first get your presentation up in the tower. You'll go for a 25-minute time slot. It'll be, the video will be played first, the team video that you submitted, then you'll have 15 minutes to present, and then you'll have 5 minutes at the end for any judges' questions to go through as they complete their evaluations. You are able to use visual aids, so we will have a TV up there. We ask that you bring any of the special dongles that you may need. We'll have an HDMI cable there, but beyond that, depending on your device, we ask that you bring your device and a dongle. And then we also, just in case, ask that you bring your presentation on a thumb drive or something like an external drive, so that if for whatever reason you may need to use one of our devices, you can, but that is definitely a backup plan. So we just like to make sure that you're prepared in case anything goes wrong or your laptop decides to die in the middle of your presentation, which has happened before. So prepare for all of those things. Once you are finished with your presentation, you will then go back down to Team Village to your team area, and you'll meet a second group of judges who will be there to assess your system and your vehicle. And so they will be there, and that time slot is about 15 minutes. And that is a little bit less structured. The judges will be there just to assess your system design. They'll be asking lots of questions, looking around at your different components, things like that. They'll probably ask different people within your team different questions. So just be prepared for anything that may be asked from these judges. They're really just giving a thorough assessment of your design. One other thing I wanted to mention is because these system assessments are new for RoboBoat, this is the first time that we'll be doing them here. We will ask that you don't bring your vehicle to the presentation, which is new. In the past, we did bring your vehicle up to the presentation room because the assessments will be conducted down in Team Village with a different group of judges. When you go up to presentation, you don't need to bring your vehicle with you. So just go up to your presentation with whoever from your team will be conducting the presentation, and then come back down to your team area to conduct your vehicle assessment. And as a reminder, I would just, because it's being conducted in your area in Team Village, make sure that your area is tidy and everything that you want to be on display for the judges is on display. So just keep that in mind before you go to your presentation, because that assessment will be directly following. You'll have about 5 or so minutes to come down from the presentation room because it takes some time to get there. But just to keep that in mind as you prepare for both of those. And then as soon as your assessment is complete, we'll have our RoboNation photographer come over to your area and snap a quick photo of your whole team with your vehicle. So also keep that in mind with whatever you'd like to wear that day. We like to keep this as condensed as possible so that you can have as much time out on the water as you can. So we try to schedule all of these back to back to allow you more time out on the water. So these are the assigned time slots. We will give you the final schedule in your team packets at team orientation. So these may be subject to change, but this is as close to final. We don't anticipate any changes at this point in time, but just as a reminder, that final one that you receive at orientation will be your assigned slot. And just remember that these are your assigned slots. So if you miss them, if you're late, that can impact your score. Sometimes teams forget about it, or they have a communication problem within their team where it's not thoroughly addressed with everyone within your team. So just make sure that you are planning that and scheduling that into your overall plan for that day. All right. The last piece I will say, as you guys hopefully are taking a picture or jotting down the time that you have, remember to take a look in the team handbook where we have the score sheet for both presentations and assessments. Those are the exact score sheets that the judges will receive. So just make sure that you go through the scoring rubric and are familiar with that as you're preparing any materials that you have for either presentation or the assessment. Just keep that in mind as you are preparing for both of those evaluations. All right. With that, I will hand it over to Bill to go over the qualifying and finals rounds.
Okay, sorry, it's been a long morning for me. Yes, we've been over the course in the previous team time. Nothing's changed with respect to that. If we have questions about individual tasks, we'll get to it in a bit. But just talking about how the days will work with qualifying rounds, we start with practices. During the practice, we'll have 3 teams on a course. If 3 teams want to be on a course, they will be assigned zones of the course during a time slot. If they would like to earn a qualifying status on the tasks they're zoned for, they have to let us know ahead of time. And that way we can make sure there's a judge around to watch you autonomously autonomously complete that task. At some point, we will announce the line of what it takes to get past qualifying into semifinals practice. Once a team is qualified on enough tasks, they will have and we have opened up a semifinals course. They will have the option to sign up for a semifinals course, and then they have the entire course to themselves. They are not sharing it with 2 other teams like they have been during the qualifying and practice days. Any questions on that? If not, during finals, this is for the whole shebang. This is where you get all your points that will be used to judge you in this hardware competition, and is what is used to give out awards afterwards. There are new rules. This time around, when you're on a finals course, you do not get to remote control the boat around the finals course unless it is to drive it from back to the start after a run has ended. I repeat, you do not get to drive the boat around at all. No practice, no surveys. You do not get to drive the boat around in remote control and as a remote controlled boat at all while you're on the finals course, except to return back to the start from the end of a run. So what I mean is your boat must operate autonomously throughout the entire run. You must start the run by going through the navigation gates and the navigation channel task. After that, you can complete the other task in any order. And if you want to get points for task 8, which is the return to home, it must autonomously get to return to home before the timer is up or before you put the boat in a remote controlled mode. You may not even know which finals course you're assigned on until 5 minutes before your time slot. We're going to change it up a bit this year. We're trying to dissuade people from mapping the course. So we're not even going to let you know which finals course you're on until right before you go into the water. And again, once you're in the water, you cannot remote control your boat through the course. Any questions on that? Okay. This eye chart is the points. I'm not going to read through it. Take a screenshot. If anyone has any particular questions, let us know. But this is the points for the different tasks for the competition. It's also in the manual, correct, Juliana?
I was about to say, there's no need to take a screenshot. It is in the handbook. So you can just look at page 23.
If you can read all these lines, then you have 20/20 vision right now. Did you have a question? Oh, okay, I don't see anyone that's had that question. Okay, we can move forward.
The next item I have on here is data sharing, Bill. So do you have any other pieces to cover?
We are 3 weeks away. Don't worry. Make sure you're maximizing your test time you have at home. Make sure you are thinking about your shipping plan, because that's always one of the most not planned well and disappointing when it bites you in the butt or ends up being a problem scenarios we've ever seen at these competitions. Don't try to do every task. If you're worried about trying to do every task, maybe spend your time doing some tasks very well, is always the advice I try to give students coming into this. Does anyone have any questions on a particular task they'd like to ask right now? Otherwise, if you don't want to ask now, there is the Discord. I'll go ahead and say, if you saw Discord, you saw I posted specs on the ducks for the duck collection task. I don't have a racquetball to compare it to, but it's about the same size as the racquetballs. They're about that big around. So like I said, we try to find ducks that were sealed. So these are sealed so they don't sink. That way they stay at the surface. That was about the same size as the racquetballs. I took pictures with a ruler. Those pictures are in the Discord. So if you're worried about the size of the ducks for the collection, you can go to Discord and see the pictures. But any questions on that or any of the tasks while we're here? Okay, data sharing away.
All right. While you guys are thinking of any last minute questions, just wanted to provide a reminder on data sharing. So you all heard me talk about it in our other team time, but we are continuing to use data sharing and encourage all of you to use it. It is a great resource for you, particularly any new teams as you're preparing for the competition. So both on the side of requesting that you provide any data sets, whether that's for your vision system, whether that's different design models, things that you would be willing to share with other teams. You don't know what would be helpful for them necessarily, what would complete what they need to continue preparing for the event. So anything that you have that you're willing to share, we highly encourage in these next few weeks leading up to the event that you go ahead and upload it. It'll be much easier for you to upload before the event while you're at home rather than on site. But at the same time, we know that there's a lot of data that you collect during the first few days for practice and all of that as you're collecting it on the actual competition course. And so new this year, we're going to be bringing a local server on site to the event that you'll be able to use. So you'll be able to upload and download any data that is available on that local server. I did want to make sure to point out that that server will not have the data that is in the cloud server. And so you will kind of have to be able to utilize both of them. And also just a note that we won't be able to upload all of the data that's collected in a day to the cloud every night. And so you will only be able to use the server when you're on site at the event during the day. So just some things that we're still kind of working through. This is something that we tried at RoboSub this past year for the first time. So this is just the second time that we'll be using this. And we are very open to any feedback that you all have. We have a great group of students that help us with this project. They are the data moderators that are helping manage this whole data sharing project. And so always looking for feedback on what is most useful for all of you. So as you are getting used to the system, using the local server, we want your feedback. Let us know what works, what doesn't work. And we just want to make sure this is the most useful resource for all of you. And yeah, Bill, I know that you've helped a lot with the local server. Is there anything in particular you'd like to add?
I talked to you about not having it have the box data from the start, because I think we can do that if you want to do it.
Cool.
But other than that, no. It'll be a network connection, you know, a hardwired network connection at a table kind of thing, just so we can download data fast. And yeah.
Thank you for your help to make this happen, Bill. All right. So this will be available in Team Village, kind of in the team lounge area is where we'll have that set up. So last but not least, just another reminder to make sure you're on Discord. Like Bill mentioned, we're sharing lots of details. We're answering questions leading up to the event, but especially on site at the event, we will be using Discord for any announcements, any questions that need to be answered. We have, like Sherry had mentioned, across that whole venue, we have lots of space. And so we're all scattered everywhere and you can't always find someone who can answer your question. So make sure you use Discord, because all of us will have our phone on us and be available to answer those questions digitally. And that way everybody can see the answer as well. So make sure that you download that before you go to the event. And set notifications. If you don't set them now, set them for at least the week that you'll be in Sarasota. It'll definitely be helpful to just stay up to date with anything, any weather alerts, anything that we need to get across to you all. So make sure that you are on Discord. At least one of your team members is tracking it and staying up to date. And with that, that is pretty much everything we had prepared for today. So if there are any other questions that we didn't answer, anything that you want to share with the group, now's the time. I feel like this happens a lot in our last team time, and I never know if I should be relieved or concerned with how quiet we are.
Yep, I agree.
How do we get access to the recorded Zoom meeting so that we can share it with our team members?
So Laverne will send it out in the next 48 hours. It takes a little bit of time for the recording to come through. So in the next 2 days, you'll receive it via email as well as via Discord. We'll post in both Discord and send an email.
Sounds good. Thank you.
It'll be linked on the website. So ultimately that's where it will be linked. All right. Well, if there isn't any questions, we can all get some time to keep getting prepared. Or catch up on sleep beforehand if everyone's really that prepared. I don't know. But